Okay, hi, I'm Soraya. I am doing my video response for the Time for School videos. Um, a lot of my response just has to do with the things that I notice about the different children and all of the different perspectives that they're coming at. So, to start off with, the girl from Afghanistan, Shagufa, it was really interesting because it seemed like her family was um, a unique family in that they really encouraged her to go to school and to really learn what she could learn from the time that she was able to have. And one of the biggest disruptions, which was the saddest part, was that Afghanistan is in war and has been for a few years now, and especially the influence of the Taliban has made it so that girls like Shagufa can can't even go to school because of the problems with safety. And um, we've even heard stories in the United States about girls having acid thrown at their faces for trying to go to school. So we really have no idea how that is here, especially since now in the United States, the enrollment for college and other institutions is going higher for girls than it is for boys now. So, I also thought it was interesting, though, that Shagufa's religion teacher taught her that their religion, the Islamic religion, taught women's rights and that women should inherit things as well, just like the boys. And she talked about how her brothers don't even ever help with the housework or anything like that. So that was really interesting to me. So moving on to Jefferson in Brazil. One interesting thing that I thought that Brazil had implemented in their um, trying to keep low income families to keep children in school was that they started paying for poor families to um, keep their kids in school, paying them a stipend every year that their kids were in school. And um, it was really interesting to listen to Jefferson, who's such a young boy who was able to skip grades after he was finally being able to go to school, that even when he made that effort, just because he was younger, he didn't get to go to the next grade. So that was really interesting for me because, especially in our culture, it's the best if you can be the youngest and the brightest, and we don't get held back by that. So I thought it was interesting that because the mother was focused on being able to keep her kids in school because of her fear, that she talked about how she was afraid that her daughters would become whores and that her son would become a drug dealer. And that was so sad, but it really motivated her, I think, to try to keep her kids in school. And it has a lot to do with the parents being. So, also with that, I thought it was interesting how even Jefferson, how young he is, really knew that the police force and that the drug lords and different political influences in the area really affected whether he was able to stay in school and be able to be successful in that. So next we have Niraj from India. And the saddest part of her story was that she didn't get to stay in school because her parents really didn't think that education was valuable. And the sad thing is she will still stay in the ignorance that her parents are in because they don't realize that education and knowledge is the key to getting out of the poverty that they're in, and so that their future generations don't have to be cattle farmers or stuff like that. And I know it's easy for us to say in the United States that education is the key and that that is the way to be able to get out, even though sometimes politically they're not able to do that. But definitely from a celestial perspective, the Lord wants us to get as much education as we can, because He knows that that is the only way that we can progress in this life and be able to um, bring something back with us to Him besides our families. So, last, I'd just like to talk about Ken from Japan. So, his was like almost the opposite of all of the others. Like in Japan, they really focus on education and have actually been um, told that they push their students too hard, and that they um, like there's a lot of different stereotypes like tiger moms and stuff like that that we hear about. But at least he's gonna have the capacity to be able to learn and be able to grow. And um, even his mother talked about, though, how she was worried that he didn't realize that the education he was getting was so valuable, and that it wasn't just a given for many kids in the world. And the teacher also talked about how he was worried that they were taking it for granted and that they weren't hungry for knowledge. And I think that's a huge problem that also faces us today as privileged Americans, who all of us have to go to school until we're 16, and we can drop out then if we want to, but all of us pretty much know that education is the only way we're going to be able to make it in the world that we live in. And so I just thought the video was really good, and I thought that it really put into perspective a little bit more how blessed we are to be able to have education always, and that each one of us has been able to attend school up until high school, and now that we're in college, we're even more privileged than most of the world. And it's just very important for us to remember that. So thanks for letting us watch this video, and I hope you liked my response.